Hey guys, it's your friendly neighborhood dish installer, off duty for a minute. I thought I'd just make a quick video showing you my rig and all the tools that I use, and just give you an idea of what a dish installer has to have to get the job done. Right now I got most of my gear on me. This is my XR3 signal meter, and it's a cool meter. It's by Applied Instruments. It's a $670 unit. It's got a removable module in the back, so if you change trades, if you end up working for a different outfit besides dish, you just pop a different module in, you're good to go. It has a removable lithium-ion battery pack. This is how you read your signal on the dish when you're trying to point the dish, or when you're trying to troubleshoot. You're trying to figure out if you get enough signal to the receiver, if there's something wrong with the cables, anything. If you're getting voltage out of the receiver, this is the tool you'd be using to get that done. Pretty hefty investment, but you know, if it's what you're going to do, you need it. You can't do it without it. And so I may not have to use this all the time. I don't necessarily have to wear this all the time, but when I show up and I start installing a dish, this is going to be by my side for sure. Big ruggedized rubber casing, not entirely waterproof, so that's going to be a problem here in the summer because it's raining a lot. Okay, you got to have an impact driver, okay, for running lags and for attaching cable clips. So you're going to want a 1/4 inch bit, and you're going to want a 1/2 inch bit. Occasionally you're going to come across things that have Tapcon screws in them, which we don't use, but you'll have to remove them. You'll need a 5/16. So the 1/2, 5/16, and 1/4, basically all you're ever going to use in this tool. This is the Dewalt 20 volt. It's got a really nice battery pack that seems to last just about forever. You can just run this thing all week long. When you key it up, it's got a little LED, helps you when you're in a dark space, and we're in dark spaces all the time, installers are. Very handy, very nice tool, very good battery pack, compact, great ergonomics. Got a little clip on it, so I can just clip it to my belt. You're going to need a hammer drill, because a lot of times you're going through masonry or brick, so you're going to want a hammer drill. So this thing is a beast. It's huge. It's incredibly heavy. I try not to wear this except when I absolutely have to. Make a couple. You're not making tons of holes. You might make a couple penetrations. You might drill a couple pilot holes for lags. You know, you got to run some cable, something like that, and then you can put it away, take it off your waist. A lot of times you'll be wearing this a lot because you'll be running all kinds of cable clips. You're in somebody's basement or in a crawl space, and you want to secure the cable up off the ground. You're going to be running cable clips. They have 1/4 inch drives, so you'd be using this. So I'd probably be using this a lot more than the drill. Even though it has the clip, if I'm climbing on a ladder, or if I'm crawling along on the ground, it can come off. So that's why I got the holster for it, which I think is very handy. Okay, I invested in a electrician's pouch. This is a Dead-On Tools from Home Depot. I really like the build quality on it. Really nice material, very secure stitching. It's stiff where it's supposed to be. It's flexible where you want it to be. And I go through a lot of cable ties every day. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rig off, and we'll have a look at it on the table instead of me going through it piece by piece, because there's quite a bit to it. The reason I like to have the strap on my neck is because when I take the belt off, I'm not immediately dropping my pouch, and you know what I'm saying. Or if I'm just running in the house real quick, I don't necessarily have to belt up. So let's take this thing off, have a good look at all the goodies inside of it. There's quite a bit. This thing is relatively heavy, but I tried working out of a bag. So this isn't a bad bag. This is a nice little bag. And for instance, the drill bag even has feet on it, so that when you lay it down in the snow or in the mud or whatever, it doesn't immediately soak the bag. So that's super handy for storing the drill driver, masonry bits, paddle bits, drill bits, charger, that sort of thing. So this is super handy for that. 9 times out of 10, that'll just be in the truck like that, and I won't have to wear it on my belt. Just like when I'm done with this, it goes back in the truck I'm not wearing it. So things that I do want to carry with me all the time. This is like a really expensive tool. It doesn't look like much, but it's about 160 bucks. It's a line of sight tool. Gives you your azimuth, which is basically your compass direction. Gives you your elevation in degrees. And so when you're trying to figure out where the heck you can put a dish, let me see if I can get that lined up so you guys can see it. Yeah, there you go. I think you can see inside there. Okay, so that gives you your compass heading, so you can look in the right part of the sky. This gives you your elevation, so you can look up. And the idea is to look for things like trees. Like for right now, if I was trying to put a dish right here, it wouldn't work because I've got so many trees so close to the house. It would have to be up on top of the house or further away from the trees to work. So this is a really delicate tool. It's a strong magnet. It's affected by metal. Other sight tools affect it. Anything that's metal that's right next to it screws it up. So, and it's shock resistant to a certain degree, but I like to keep it in its foam pouch that it came with to protect it. Here's another like really weird specialized tool. This is a mapper kit. This is strictly for coax. Just like you would tone out a wire with your multimeter, this is sort of how you tone out cables, coax cables in a house. So you're down in the basement, you got a bunch of cables hanging down, you don't know which room is which. So before you went down in the basement, you went around to all the wall ports or to all the coax, and you screwed these on the ends, and they're numbered 1 through 8. And then you go down in the basement, and you screw this onto the end of a cable, and it tells you whether it's open, whether it's short, or whether it's the number you want. It's a beautiful thing. Can't really tell what cable you're dealing with without it. Again, kind of a delicate piece of equipment. I like to keep it in its pouch. I usually hang it off my tape measure thing because I don't really like this. This can scratch people's furniture and houses and stuff, so I like to cover that with this. It stays on there pretty good as long as I'm not flopping around too much. If you're flopping around too much, I can stick it inside my bag. I like the big pouches because I go through a ton of F connectors. These are compression connectors for coax, RG6 coax, or whatever, 3000 millihertz, 3 gigahertz. And I go through a ton of cable securing clips every day. So fill those up before I head out. Basic hand tools that I'm using constantly. Obviously I'm going to be using a flat blade to get off wall plates. I'm going to be using a Phillips to put together my dishes. This I might use very occasionally, like when I'm tightening a ground block screw, or if I just don't have to have my impact nearby and I want to put in just a couple of clips, I can run them in pretty easy with that. When it comes time to strip the coax, you got to have a special stripper. It's the only way to operate. Got to have a special compression tool. You got to have that. One thing I hardly ever use is the tape measure. Never really get around to using it. I'll tell you one thing that I use almost all the time. This is used several times a day, every day. It's my through night TH20 headlamp. This thing is a beast. It's super light. It uses a AA battery, so if I ever run out of batteries, I can easily put another battery in it from one of the remotes and get operating. Sometimes I don't want to put on the headlamp, like when I'm in somebody's house and I'm just trying to look behind their cabinets. So I've got my little Headlamp V31A, which is an awesome light. Runs off a CR123A. Obviously you're going to want to be able to cut your coax. This is a 1/2 wrench, which I use occasionally, not that often. One wrench that I use all the time is my 30-inch-pound torque wrench to make sure that I've tightened up my outdoor connections on my coax so they are watertight and up to dish specs. Yeah, pretty much. That's the stuff that I use all the time. Every now and then, like if I'm running lags, I'll run the lag 90%, then I'll snug it down with my ratchet. If I have to open a Cox cable box, you have to have a special tool for that. It's kind of weird. Opens the Cox cable box. Hardly ever use the hammer. 9 times out of 10, the hammer isn't even on my belt. that's in my bag because I try to avoid using a hammer if at all possible. The only time I use it is for driving nail tack cable clips into masonry, like brick and stuff, cinder block. It's the only time you really need to use it. I have a little razor knife hiding down in here, which I very, very rarely use. I probably use the 1/2 wrench more than I use the razor knife. I might use it once in a great while. And of course, tons of cable ties. So that's pretty much my rig, guys. It is like close to 100 degrees out here. I'm sweating my balls off. I just wanted to share it with you because it's my new vocation, what I'm doing. It's not a bad job, guys. If you're handy, fit, you're willing to crawl into crawl spaces, attics, climb on roofs, climb a 40-foot ladder, you're healthy enough to lift a ladder that size on and off of a truck, you're pretty good with people, you like to deal with people, you like something new every day, you never have to worry about the same thing twice. Oh yes, and of course the multi-tool. I just carry that around. You never know. Sometimes I don't have pliers in my bag, so this is my pliers. I was thinking of getting some pliers, but anyway, not a bad vocation, guys. I'm enjoying it. Only problem is like I say, you got to invest in a fair amount of equipment. You got to have all this stuff. Dish will set you up with a van, ladder, shovels, all the equipment you need to install. But this is the stuff that you actually own and that you'll have to fork out a pocket for. So depending on the outfit you work for, they may let you pay it off over time, or you may just have to walk in the door and have it all. So your choice. This bag, I didn't really go through this bag. This is my bag of possibles. I call this my possibles bag. I'm not using this thing all the time. I'm not using this. I mean, I don't need to. I could carry this around with me, but I don't use it all the time. When I'm ready to mount something where I need to find a stud, I'm probably going to be going back to the truck to get my drill anyway. So here it is. You know, as a matter of fact, it could just as easily live in the drill bag. I've got some cords and cables for my signal meter. I've got some knee pads, and I've got some gloves for when I'm crawling underneath houses. Here's a wrench that I've never used. I probably will never use, but I carry it around anyway. I got some sockets in here that I never use. This is like the bag of stuff that, you know, if you need it, it's there, but if you don't, whatever. So I didn't want to make this little video too terribly long, plus I'm melting out here. But that's the life of a dish installer. Carry about 20-30 pounds of gear. Half the time you're wearing it around your neck. But yeah, you know, I've always liked tools. I'm a tool guy. And so having a bunch of cool tools like this, not only that, they're kind of color coordinated. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching.